joins us live from New York City's Rockefeller Plaza at a celebration to mark the 1 year until the big games. And Jack, I know you've covered these events. Japan sounds nice this time of year.
Yeah, it sounds nice. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid, and I'm excited to announce I'm going to cover my 11th Olympic Games.
Well, that was 1 year ago. Now let's take you to Tokyo on the day the Olympics were supposed to begin. You'll notice, sadly, no Jack Doles.
No, instead he's here in Grand Rapids, but he was right about one thing. It's going to be hot and humid.
So let's try this again, Jack. 1 year until the Olympics.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, when I was standing in New York City 1 year ago, I could never have imagined a scenario where the Olympics would not be taking place. But here we are. COVID forced the Tokyo Organizing Committee to postpone the games until July 23, 2021. The hope was that I would be in Tokyo today, talking with Kenowa Hills grad Donovan Brazier. He could be one of the stars of those games. He'll join us in just a minute. First, I want to take you out to Tokyo. The city and the venues, they're all ready. But even with another year to go, there are questions about how the coronavirus will change the games next year. Liz McLaughlin joins us.
A bittersweet celebration in an empty Olympic Stadium today, marking 1 year until the Olympic Games, as Tokyo, Japan starts the countdown for a second time. 4 months after the decision to postpone the Games in the wake of a global pandemic, uncertainty prevails, complicating preparations for the host city and the world's greatest athletes.
We don't know what's going to happen, so we train as if.
The International Olympic Committee is operating under the same mindset, optimistic that the global health crisis will be over by next summer.
These Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020 in 21, can, should, and will be the light at the end of the tunnel.
But many in the host city remain wary. A recent survey shows fewer than 1 in 4 people in Japan supports the Olympics taking place in 2021. Yet the price is steep. Japan already investing more than $12 billion. Organizers say they're committed to putting on the games if it's safe to do so.
We have to prepare for multiple scenarios.
The IOC says it's identified hundreds of ways to simplify and downsize the event, but exact contingency plans are still unclear.
What's Tokyo going to look like? Where will we be with COVID-19? And will we all find the way to get to Tokyo with fans, perhaps less fans than thought?
More questions than answers on the uncertain road to Tokyo. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
One person I was really looking forward to seeing and covering in Tokyo is Donovan Brazier, but we're going to have to wait another year for that conversation there. Right now we're talking to him on a Zoom call. Donovan, how many times have you cursed COVID?
Yeah, it's been definitely a world downwind spin, because I feel like, everybody's anticipating for Tokyo next year for 2021, but still there's a lot of unknown, a lot more questions than answers at this point. I know there's still a lot of talks about even if they'll be able to hold the games in 2021 in Tokyo.
Yeah. Have you stayed healthy? Have you been COVID-free yourself?
Yeah, I've been COVID-free, and I mean, that's essentially just me doing my part. I haven't really been traveling. I'm just kind of hunkered down in Portland for the most part, and just kind of doing what I can, given the scenario and everything, but just making the best of the situation.
You were peaking at just the right time. You won that world championship. You look like a lock to make your first Olympic team. So mentally, how big of a strain has this been on you?
It's definitely been a strain, because I feel like this is the year that I could really have a potential breakout year and kind of make a name for myself. I'm 22, was going on 23 this year, and I feel like, I'm only going up from here for right now. So I think I'm in a better situation than a lot of other athletes that are pushing their late 20s to early 30s. I still have a lot of energy and a lot of juice inside me, opposed to kind of being on the later half of my career. So at least I'm thankful for, looking at it in that aspect.
We've heard countless stories about the mental impact that this has had on people. How have you dealt with the mental part of this, Donovan?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just trying to find some bit of normalcy in everyday routines that I'm doing. I'm just trying to, act like at the Olympics, we're still going on. I'm still training. I'm still trying to compete and meet somewhat. I've done a couple of meets out here in Portland, with the right protocols and stuff still aligned. But I'm just trying to work out. I'm still trying to get my lifts in. I'm still trying to see my physical therapist and all that, and just still trying to create a normal routine, just kind of. And I think that's the easiest way for, me to get through this.
I know when we last talked, Nike had just closed that facility. How big of a scramble has it been to train and stay in the shape that you need to stay in for the return to competition?
Yeah, so it's definitely kind of like you said, that mental block is there, and I think it is for a lot of athletes because we don't know if any meets are even going to be happening this year. So for us to try to compete or us to train, to our best abilities, in the back of our mind, we're always thinking, what are we training for? So we don't know if, let alone Tokyo is going to happen next year, but even if we're going to be able to compete in any meets this year. But so far, majority of our meets have gotten canceled, and we're just kind of trying to, be picky and trying to do the right things and just trying to find areas that we can work with and trying to, go back to normalcy and try to compete again.
Yeah, like you just said, no guarantee that we'll be enjoying an Olympics a year from now. A lot still has to happen. Have you had days where you've wondered if all this training and all this commitment was worth it?
I definitely think that, but I really don't ever question it. It's kind of, that's all I know. That's all I know is track and field. This is my job, and this is what I'm supposed to do, and I want to get the opportunity to represent my country on a global scale. So I think it'd be selfish of me to not, do everything I can and put my, best foot forward and try to compete and try to do what I can for preparing for the upcoming Olympics. I think it's best to, hope for the best, but, expect the worst if it doesn't happen. But I'm still going to train and prepare for things to happen as if they will be.
Can you plan ahead, or do you just have to focus on one workout one day at a time?
Yeah, it's really just taking it a day at a time, because with this COVID thing, things are changing. Like we know in the past 3 months, a lot of stuff has progressed and a lot of things have, come to light, and, we really don't know what's going to happen. So that's all we can really do is just take it day by day and just plan with that. Because if we start planning, 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead, and let alone a year ahead, it's just so much uncertainty in the air.
Donovan, has there been an upside for you during this pandemic?
I think it's kind of bringing people together in a way in the track and field community. I feel like we're finding ways to, make these meets happen, because I've actually competed in 2 meets since this COVID outbreak. And, the team out here with Nike and, the West Coast guys, they're really doing a good job at their part in making us be able to compete. And that's following protocols. That means we're getting our COVID test 2 times a week. That means that we're, wearing our mask during training, we're wearing our mask during competitions, and we're only allowing certain people in the stadium. So I think just finding that community aspect of things, that we're still able to get these meets down together for, track and field. I think it's good for the whole track and field community.
How difficult is it for a runner of your caliber to train with a mask on?
It's pretty bad. I won't ever do any intense workouts in it, because I don't think that's necessarily the healthiest option. But, if we're just sitting in a warm-up area or a cool-down area, we're making sure we're wearing our masks.
Yeah, that's a great mindset Donovan has. Hope for the best, expect the worst, be prepared for anything. If all goes well, Donovan will travel to Monaco in a couple of weeks for his next meet.
Keep practicing. Yeah.
Okay, time to rev back up once again.
Absolutely.
Here we go. All right, Jack, thank you.